Folks, we got ourselves a great conversation and discussion happening because right now, joining us live and direct, none other than somebody who has seriously, I think he is owed an apology by not one but two presidential candidates. Give it up for Nick from RBN. Nick, holy cow, man! This election cycle, dude. Like, first of all, how are you feeling, and what is it like knowing that not once but twice you have been proven correct, and that you have called out two different you've called a lot of the presidential campaigns, but at least two in particular that have really tried to dismiss you and your criticisms. I mean, I've never seen anything like this before, to where the people running for this office, the highest of the land, can't take constructive criticism from a growing progressive movement. And again, it's on them for not listening or either that absorbing that criticism. But it's phenomenal to me. I've never seen anything like this before.
What's popping, brother? What's popping? Who could have saw when we created RBN less than 3 years ago? Who could have saw this coming? You had a group of young Black radical organizers who created a YouTube channel, and we were screaming from the top of our lungs from the very beginning, "Fuck electoral politics," right? I might write a Substack about this because my experience over the last year has been crazy, my friend.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Between the Marianne Williamson meltdown that went viral, and then the doc. No, if I would told you I was beefing with Dr. Cornel West a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, what? Because we came out and we told everyone on the left, fuck electoral politics. So then you had all these grifters who was intimidated. So then they try to infiltrate us, because I cannot emphasize enough. And what everyone is forgetting about this whole experience I am dealing with in my life is that both candidates, Marianne Williamson and Dr. Cornel West, asked to come on RBN, not the other way around.
Why do you think I don't mean to cut you off here because I want to give the floor back to you, but why do you think that was? You think it's because like maybe you would have been starstruck or something like that? Because that's always a big question mark for me. Like when I've had like some high profile guests on my show too, like be they running for office, like are you expecting me to just be quiet or subservient? Because that's a pretty big deal. Marianne Williamson, Dr. Cornel West, because Dr. Cornel West has been on our show as well. But I was just wondering if that was the case, they were trying to manipulate you
That's why Marianne Williamson supporters, I was like, Nick was so mean to Marianne Williamson. Aren't you supposed to treat your guests nice? And like, she asked to come on our show. I didn't want to talk to her. At no point did I ever want to talk to Marianne Williamson. Look it up. She responded to my tweets where I was critical of her, and a lot of her supporters were like, Nick, why won't you have Marianne Williamson on? Why won't you have Marianne Williamson on? And then she herself replied to my tweet like, hey, I'm available. Can I come on? So she asked to come on my show, and then people wonder why I was so hard on her. I'm like, you're not going to waste my fucking time not answering questions, fucking filibustering, and that is exactly why I had the tone and direction towards her that I did. The same with Dr. Cornel West, who found my article on Substack. They asked to come on RBN. His wife hit us up. I didn't hit him up. They hit us up to come on RBN. And people are like, why do you guys get so friendly with Dr. Cornel West in the PMT class? They wanted to get friendly with us. This is a giant part of the story. You getting breaking news, kid.
Hey, Heartlands Media. Hey, I say start your morning right and righteously angry. Hey, spill the tea.
I give my boy Kid a scoop because I'm gonna start telling these stories because Dr. West had no idea who he's fucking with. He had no idea how easy I was taking it on him.
God damn.
He's the one who reached out to me because he realized that we had a message that was important for him to infiltrate. And he attempted to infiltrate RBN, and we called his cornball ass out. You're not going to infiltrate RBN. You're not going to corrupt us. So think about it, kid. These are two people who wanted to run for president. These are two people who wanted to run for president. And we are a group that's saying, fuck electoral politics, don't vote. So what they do, they want to infiltrate our organization to turn it around. And I'm like, and me being nice, I'm like, okay, I want to be in community with anyone who's willing to talk with me. So I bring Cornel West and Marianne Williamson. Well, let's focus on Cornel West more because he's more recent. Cornel West, I'll bring him in knowing that he is to my right. Knowing that he's to my right. But I told you guys, I am not willing to cancel people. Kid, how consistent have I been? I have told you guys many times before that if you don't agree with me on politics, I am not willing to cancel you. I am willing to help guide you along the path.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in community with you. I am willing to talk with you. And I have got many criticisms from people on my left, people who are Marxists and communists, who was like, Nick, why are you giving this cornball any attention? And I am willing to admit, like a fucking man in front of everybody, like I said on my last live stream, that those people was right. I was wrong.
You know, I got to push back on that. You know, here's the thing. Okay. When you say you were wrong, okay, I guess maybe it could be viewed as a judgment of character on Cornel West's part. But I think you did the right thing as not only a host and a showrunner, but you did your job to have somebody of a different perspective on your show. Now, of course, I get the same kind of criticism too. Don't talk to libertarians. I've been told by people, don't interview libertarians, don't interview these people, don't interview that people. I've had Larry Sharp on my show, but guess what? Roger Meadows, who follows your show, follows my show, he convinced Larry Sharp about, hey, about citizen ballot initiatives and public banks and all that other good stuff. And they both are two different political spectrums. I think, first of all, you apologize. That's fine. I don't think you should have apologized. I think you did the right thing by having Cornel West on your show and having other guests on your show. I'm pretty sure you've interviewed people that you disagree with, but you did your job. So I hear where you're coming from, and you know what? But I think you did everything of your best ability to do your job to interview somebody. And I think you're also right and also self-reflecting, because I've made that mistake too, where I've had to apologize to people saying like, hey, you know what, maybe I shouldn't interview that person, but you did it. And I think you did a fine job, and I wouldn't be too hard. Don't be too hard on yourself. From me to you, because I've been doing this since 2017.
I explained many times before, guys, I'm a softy at heart, and I've been burnt because I have this thing where I look at
I hear you.
You know what I mean?
I got that problem too, but you know what? You did the job. And so I didn't mean to cut you off here, but I didn't mean
to. He's a disgusting person, man. He's uses celebrity and his clout to try to smear us and erase our blackness. He don't understand. He made an enemy for life, bro. You don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with my crew. He had no idea what the beast he has awakened. So why would you, all the media channels, 99% of YouTube channels focus on electoral politics because the majority of them are unserious. So out of all the YouTube channels you could come on to, why would you guys try to come on RBN and try to convince us to vote for your dumb ass when we've been saying for 2 to 3 years now that we don't believe in electoral politics? And then they turn around to the people like, oh my God, RBN is mean to me. What do you expect? And with that said, we wasn't even that mean to them. We just object to them. The difference between me and that coward, Dr. Cornel West, oh, sorry, I forgot. I took his doctorate away, Cornball West. The difference between me and him is that when I brought him on our show, I called him out to his face for voting for Joe Biden. I called him out to his face for his Putin derangement syndrome. And every time I called him out, he was like, yeah, brother, you bring some good points. I pray on that. You guys know this academic fraud, this intellectual coward never brought up his criticism to me, to my face. Why did he say, remember he said we was on the Jimmy Dore plantation.
Oh, yeah.
No, listen, kid. I'll bring you right in. Listen. I'll bring you right in. Listen. He said that we on the Jimmy Dore plantation because we don't criticize Russia enough. That is what he said on Bad Faith Podcast. So he's saying that O'Malley from the Black Uhuru Socialist Movement, who said he is in solidarity with Russia, he's calling them the Jimmy Dore plantation. And when I brought up why I don't focus on Russia, why didn't he say I was on the Jimmy Dore plantation to my face? Because I'm quote unquote soft on Russia. You cornball. Why didn't he call me out in my face? He couldn't, because that's all these PMC cowards do. They talk shit behind your back, and they never had the coward to the dignity to debate, to actually have their idea challenged. But sorry, kid, I want to get you in. I just want to make that point.
Yeah, well, because you brought the Jimmy Dore plantation, and when I heard him say that, I think on Bree's show, but on a few other shows too, just That's kind of an insult, because then you're assuming that Jimmy Dore is on the phone line for RBN. Last I checked, Revolutionary Blackout Network was founded by you, Nick, CJ, Rome, Jay, and the rest of the crew of Revolutionary Blackout Network. I don't see the word Jimmy Dore in there. And the thing is, I think the reason why he brought that up is because there was that infamous interview that he had with Jimmy Dore where Jimmy asked him, well, who's advising you? And at the time, I think a lot of us were taken aback that Peter Dow was associated with his campaign. And look where his campaign is at now. I mean, you're supposed to get on the ballot. You're supposed to be focused. You had the Green Party. The Green Party, as at least to the best of my knowledge, at least on 21 ballots right now, ballot access is key. Why would you throw it all away? And you brought some very good points when you were co-hosting with Rome on your live stream. And I had to sit down and watch that thing twice. Like my jaw was still on the floor in regards to the fact that you had the Green Party, all right? And I have my criticisms of the Green Party, but at least they have ballot access. Just like with the Libertarians, they got 48 states. Ballot access. That's key if you want to be part of electoral politics, but you're going to throw it all away and run as an independent because you were being advised by Dow. And I think he couldn't really take that criticism. And then he starts coming after you guys for your criticism of him when he was commenting on that the situation of of Putin's rival who passed away.
Yeah, I'm 100% convinced Cornel West is an op designed to siphon this growing left-wing third-party movement and turn it ineffective. That's what he was designed to do. And before I expound on that more, I want to get back to the Jimmy Dore plantation, because you just mentioned how the Jimmy interview where Dr. Cornel West made an ass of himself, and he had a meltdown because Jimmy Dore asked who's advising him. And he's like, how dare you rob me of my freedom of thought as a black man? I'm not advised by anyone. Like, so for one, let's look at this, and this is what I criticize Cornel West for. You are a presidential candidate. You should have advisors, sir. If I was running for office, I had Rome as my advisor, Kit would be my advisor, Misty would be my advisor, Snappy would be my advisor, JB would be my advisor. I will have a mountain of advisors because this is not about me. So that was one of the first signs that this guy is a fucking narcissist beyond belief, that he's running for the highest office of all time, but you don't have a fucking advisor, you deeply unserious clown. Who the fuck does that? Now, take that point aside. He was like, how dare you rob me of my freedom of thought as a black man? So you notice the first thing he does to us is exactly what he accused Jimmy Dore of doing to him. He robs us, he robs Ajamu, he robs Margaret Kimberly, and he robs the entirety of Black Twitter and everyone who called his cornball ass out for praising the white supremacists by saying that we on the Jimmy Dore plantation, erasing our blackness. Why do they bring up Jimmy Dore? No reason really, except the fact that he's an easy target that is already hated by shit libs. He is a charlatan, a narcissist, and an intellectual fraud, the likes we have never seen. And I am shocked beyond belief, because once you get to know this guy, you realize all these people that know this guy and spoke out against him was right. Michael Eric Dyson was wrong on the substance on Obama, but Michael Eric Dyson said he was a charlatan. Jimmy Dore called him out as a charlatan. We call him out as a charlatan. This guy is a class warrior, sister soldier, and all these people was right about him.
So let me ask you this, and this is maybe just the speculation at this point, and this is just your opinion, because even I have my doubts on how far he'll take his campaign. But do you see him going all the way to November, or do you see Cornel West dropping out and endorsing Biden?
Probably gonna endorse Biden. I want to be shocked at this point, because the reason why he left the Green Party, once again, people's criticism of the Green Party is pretty irrelevant on this point. Because I voted for Joe Stein 2 elections. They are on the ballot around 35 to 38 states.
Oh, for the Greens? Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Yeah, they're usually on the ballot. 35 states every election. Dr. Cornel West knows this. He's on the ballot in 0 swing states. Do you guys think that's a coincidence? And that was something that we called out. If you stay in the Green Party, your ass is on the ballot.
Precisely.
Period. And you decide to pull yourself off the ballot as soon as polls showed that he was a threat to Joe Biden in swing states. There was polls that showed he was getting around 5 to 6%. And the second that happened, all of a sudden he started working backwards from his conclusion so he can leave the Green Party. So this is why we told you guys from the beginning, and why I apologize for even giving this fraud even attention, even though he asked me to. because we told you guys not to trust electoral politics. Don't trust any person who raised their hand and say, I want to be the fucking president. And right in this situation that we live right now, you want to be the fucking president. Okay, bro. Okay, bro. There's not anything wrong with you. I'm convinced that anyone who want to run for president, it's different if you run for city council, right?
Right.
Mayor, local. That I'm
Right.
like, all right. I may not agree with that because I still think the local politics is rigged, but I will not judge that as bad as someone who want to run for fucking president. Imagine the kind of narcissist who believes that you can do that and do that without advisors, kid. The kind of unserious clowns that we are fucking dealing with. Marianne Williamson believe that she should be president. Who are these people? Like, who are these people? The people who are so narcissistic that they can fucking believe that.
I think what people are trying to do, at least because here's what I'm getting from this election cycle. Okay, let's say 2016, 2020, and 2024 were all movies. Let's say 2016 was a blockbuster movie, big hit, lightning in the bottle. You had the Bernie Sanders movement. You had Donald Trump running. I mean, looking back at it, I've never seen anything like it before, and there was such a real need for change that the American people were finally asking for something to shake the foundation. Now, obviously, we know better because Bernie Sanders turned out to be a nutless wonder. Donald Trump still was part of the machine like anybody else. And of course, the DNC was working all the establishments were doing everything they could to make Hillary the winner, but that was never the case. And then comes 2020, the sequel that was just a fart in the wind. And now there's 2024, which is like a shell of what the original movie was. And I think what people are trying to do with Marianne Williamson, Dr. Cornel West, maybe RFK Jr., or whoever else, trying to capture that lightning in a bottle of a Bernie Sanders movement, of trying to get that happening again. But you brought this up on your show numerous times, whereas it was a waste of time to support Bernie. And I think that's what a lot of these people are trying to do again, trying to get people excited for something that never was what it was in 2016. All it was going to help sheep herd people into voting Democrat, which is what we saw in 2016 and to an extent in 2020. I want to get your thoughts on that.
Absolutely. I 100% regret work on the Bernie campaign. I don't regret the actions I did on the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was on the Bernie campaign, I completely misrepresented what that fucking movement was about. And I apologize for that because I misunderstood the assignment. I thought we was doing a political revolution. It's not my fault.
Right here.
I was telling these motherfuckers like, yeah, we're going to get health care. We're going to attack the establishment. So I will admit, one of the reasons I regret it because I inherently misled people about what Bernie was doing. And I feel still amount of guilt for that, which is why I'll make up for it to this day as being a harsh left-wing critic. But one of the reasons why I don't regret it, because despite that, do you guys know how many people in my community? Because they sent my black guys to South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to the most conservative black people in the country, and I converted so many of them into anti-capitalist train of thought. Do you know how many people I converted to? I wouldn't even say the word converted. Actually, the people. You know how many people I convinced?
Enlightened. How about enlightened and informed?
Healthcare? Yeah, you know how many people who I convinced to support universal health care? You know how many people I supported who I convinced to support to end the wars in the empire? So in one sense, I misled those people because I let them believe that Bernie was the solution to the empire, which I still feel bad about. But on the other hand, I got these people to be anti-empire.
Mm-hmm.
So that would led me to my politics today, because I don't regret that action of talking to those people. It's still one of the most enriching moments of my life. I talked to hundreds and hundreds of black people about politics in my community. It was an extremely enriching experience for me. So what happened, what I learned is I can do the same thing, but you don't need the Bernie campaign. That's mutual aid. So what's stopping you from talking to your community, radicalizing the community, and supporting the material needs for your community, but without the politician, without the campaign? You can do the same thing I did without Bernie involved at all. You guys see my overall take on this? I regret working for Bernie, but I don't regret what I did. That's why I engage in mutual aid. So because not only are we addressing people's material conditions, mutual aid is also education. We are explaining to people why we are doing this. I had people, when I did my school drive in the fall. They were like, why are you doing it? But people were starting like, why you getting free school? People would have had no idea. What's the catch? No, it's free, bro. Free school supplies. What you need? Why you do? And people were like, why are you doing this? I'm like, bro, we got it. I'm like, bro, this system's fucked up. I would tell these people, I wouldn't preach to them. The system fucked up, man. We got to stand together, man. This shit where they want us to be alone, we need to be together. This is why, ask Ron, this is why I would tell people during our mutual aid events, and people are like, you're goddamn right. Because if you're not doing that, mutual aid without education is just charity.
Exactly.
What's the difference? When you just do charity, you just giving people shit and there's no messaging behind that. That's the difference between charity and mutual aid. What I do is engage in mutual aid. I'm sorry, I'm ranting, kid.
No, it's fine. Go ahead. Because I got a question to bring up to you, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's the difference between mutual aid and charity, because I'm out there actually educating the people. And I learned that from the Bernie campaign. Like, let's fuck Bernie, fuck electoral politics. Let's do the same thing, but bring mutual aid, class consciousness, Marxist organizing to it. But go ahead, I'll ask you for your question.
Well, here's what I have to say. I'm really impressed with what RBN has been doing for mutual aid, and at this point, this probably is going to be the last election cycle I will be voting in, because I think this has now been the final thing.
Can I address something, kid?
Go ahead.
Sorry, I deeply apologize. Can you highlight Lucas's Wayman comment, because I want to address this. This is the kind of common revolution, and I don't address like trolls like this often, but I think this is a learning opportunity.
Go ahead.
RBN guy's influence is minimal, but he's acting like he's John the Apostle, whatever. You can keep the comment up.
Okay, cool, no problem.
This is the counter-revolutionary, nihilistic thinking that destroyed the left in this country. Let's say that I am doing nothing with my work. If I motivate 1 or 2 people to get in the streets, I have done well. If I have helped 1 family feed themselves, I have done well. If I converted 1 fucking person, that is enough. Lucas probably doesn't do anything because he probably has the nihilistic thought that no matter what I do, it doesn't matter. No matter what I do, it doesn't matter. Not everyone is going to be a fucking Rome. I will look at you in the face and tell you that I am not half of what Rome is. I am not 1/4 of what Rome is when it comes to activism. You're not either. 99% of all people won't do half of what fucking Rome has done. Does that minimize you? Does that make you less of an activist just because you're not able to fucking start a revolution? Because you're not fucking Fred Hampton? We call ourselves Fred Hampton leftists, not because we are Fred Hampton. It's because we aspired to be 1% of what he was. We also aspire to be 1% of what he was. If you guys don't believe I have done enough, that's fine. I have motivated enough people to get in the streets. I have countless people who told me that RBN is the reason why they engaged in mutual aid. And X amount of people told me that. I am telling you it's a lot. But let's say X amount. The fact that it's an amount of people that even told me that make me proud every goddamn day. And you people spend your time trying to tear me down, and it drives you crazy that I have radical self-love, and I won't allow you people to tear me down, even if I'm not doing enough. That's okay. Even if I'm not doing enough, that's okay. Even if you're not doing enough, that's okay. As long as we put in the effort. Okay? Don't allow these people to make you think you're not doing enough. Don't allow these people to dull your revolutionary spirit. And that's why I want to highlight this comment. Because this mindset, this toxic mindset is prevalent among liberal society. Oh man, we can't start a revolution. So what's the fucking point? Look at those people trying. Oh, look at those RBN people. They trying to motivate people. They think they're gonna start a revolution. That nigga Nick ain't shit. Fuck Nick. What the nigga Nick think he's a revolutionary? You guys see this fucking hater ass energy? This shit is normal in the left. This shit is normal in the United States. This is the Harlan media viewer saying this shit. This shit is normal. Because that's why the United States working class is in the position that it's in right now. Go ahead, kid.
I don't know if that's a regular viewer or a troll. I'm pretty sure I know my viewing audience.
That's fair, kid. That's fair, kid. Okay. My point is, this is toxic on the left. Period.
Well, again, here's the thing with people who are trolls. Because I've dealt with them too. That you don't know, and that's the thing. You can't ever let that get the better of any of us, especially for those who get involved in social media and all that thing. But what I want to ask you, especially about mutual aid, because one thing you brought up is people are asking, well, why are you doing this? And this is something that is rather concerning, but I think it needs to be brought to light. I think we as people who have been abandoned by our political ruling class, we as people who have been disrespected by our ruling class, by our politicians, we're not used to anyone acting kind. We're not used. This is Americans in general. We're not used to somebody saying, "Hey, here's some mutual aid. Here's how to help you get educated." And I think there's this concept of a cycle of abuse and neglect that we just take it as it is. And do you see that ever breaking at any point in time? Because you've inspired a lot of people to get involved. I know Rome has done his fair share of work. My God, the man is building a library, which I have to say, and a community garden, as well as a couple other projects. Apologies if I'm missing anything. Shout out to Rome. But it is rather concerning that it's people are asking, well, why are you doing this? When in fact it's human nature. I mean, that's how we survived as a species, by working together. That's how we got where we're at. But in this country, it's sort of like you're on your own. That's it. And don't expect anyone to help you out. And I get it. There's no such thing as a free lunch, but my goodness, a helping hand helps out here and there. I just want to get your thoughts on that.
And that's the best way to convert people. I got people who are not political who love to help me with our RBN mutual aid events, and you explain the concept of community, the tenets of rejecting individualism, and these are things that people inherently want in their life. It inherently gives them purpose. The amount of people that told us, and people who work with me in mutual aid and activism, that told them it enriches their life it's immense. The amount of people that tell us that, and our system, which the root of our education system that turned us to brainless factory robots who believe their only purpose in life is to chase a bag. That's why there's so much depression in this country. And this is why the big pharma mental health industrial complex lied to people and told people that you have broken brains and you got to take pills in order to stay on even-ended, instead of acknowledging the fact that you guys have been misled on how we're supposed to live life. You guys live life as capitalist wannabes, factory robots who don't care about the community, and then they wonder why they're depressed. The people who engage in activism, the people who actually want revolution, the people who don't give into nihilism, these are the people who are the most optimistic and the most happy. That's why you see people try to turn me down, because they view me as cocky and arrogant. No, I have radical self-love, because that's the self-love you develop when you actually try and fight for change. When people give up and they just resign in the fact that this system will always be, this is the idea of capitalist realism that social democrats implore, that the capitalist system will always be and nothing will ever stop it. That is when your life loses meaning. That is what led to the rise of mental health crisis in this country, the lack of purpose that many people have. But mutual aid kit is the medicine to that. Fam, you know how much happiness mutual aid brings to people? Go ahead, kid. Go ahead. I apologize.
Well, we'll see. Because here's the thing: I've been following a lot of Rome's work, and he's been doing good. But I've been also seeing other examples. Perhaps they're not getting as much light as they should be, but other examples throughout the country where people are doing mutual aid. And as a country with everything as it is, housing, rent, trying to even start your life now. I've been speaking to a lot of my friends here too. They're all saying, like, and they're my age or a little bit younger, how difficult it is. And then you hear from the older generations who are afraid, like, is this the world we're leaving behind? And every good deed or every kind of attempt of helping somebody out does add up to maybe turning the sick tide that we're in. And I do hold on to the audacity of hope, not taking it away from Obama, but, just hold on to that audacity of hope that, yes, more people will wake up and start helping each other out, fighting for a better future, speaking with each other, and building communities and relationships that's not connected to DC, because these politicians have done a phenomenal job in dividing us for decades on end. And I think we could be seeing a great awakening. I took that from Russell Brand. Sorry about that, Russell. But I mean, we are seeing that great awakening slowly but surely happening. And I think that this is what we have to start investing into. Real quick, good friend of the show, Roger Meadows, wants me to ask you this. So 2 questions, or this is a couple of things from Roger Meadows. So first, Nick, you responded to me on X, I call it Phoenix, that you'd be willing to have Cynthia Brown from Ohio lead coalition to end qualified immunity, who's running a citizen ballot initiative to amend the Ohio Constitution to end qualified immunity in Ohio, on your show. If you're still down, then Kit, can you pass her information to Nick? I want to get her on my show, but I'll pass that information to Nick. Even though we don't live in Ohio, we support these movements everywhere. They need all the help they can get. Hey, Nick, Winston Apple, a former civics public school teacher, an author and political activist, singer, songwriter, and recording artist, and also neighbor of yours in Kansas City, was one who filed for all those citizen ballot initiatives. I talked to him on the phone yesterday and told him about your activism, and he would like to connect with you. I asked, please reach out to him. I gave Kit his contact information for you to reach out. So, first of all,
in the area, Kansas City area.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Because I'm planning a meeting. I'm having an RB in Kansas City chapter meeting to plan our next action. So I'll definitely reach out to them. They should email us info@rev. Fuck, I need to get my email, but then
you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna private message you that information, because I'm gonna be reaching out to them this weekend so I can get them on my show for this week. So that way, not only will Harlan's Media have them on, but potentially RBN too, because I know you guys got a lot of projects you're working on, and I want to make sure I pass that information that Roger was kind enough to send to me. So thank you, Roger, for that information. I'll be sure that Nick gets that. So all in all, see, collaboration. Shout out to our audiences right there. That's what we need to see. One thing I do want to bring up too, because obviously we bring up electoral politics. I hate to bring her in here, but well, she'll only be in here for a little bit. But I did a 4-minute breakdown on this, or I broke down this 4-minute video. I know. I'm sorry, folks. There she is. So she decides to unsuspend her campaign. Now, we're not going to sit through all of this. But she does bring up the genocide in Gaza, stealing your talking points. And I said in that video, and I could send it to you too, that first of all, and no, I'm not going to play the video. Just wanted to show her face there. She starts like taking your words and was accusing you of mansplaining a very serious issue that is now playing out in Gaza. Your thoughts on just Marianne Williamson just taking your ideas and not acknowledging where she got them?
Yeah, I have yet to click that video. I couldn't possibly begin to get through it.
Dude, just heads up. If you want to, you're gonna be pausing it every 30 seconds, because I had to stop it, because I said in my breakdown of it, she owes you guys an apology, man.
So she called me a mansplainer for explaining the Israel situation. The two-state solution is a failure because Israel will never implement it.
Yeah,
and both parties admitted that. Yeah, so that was before October 7th. You guys remember? You guys know how RBN have been very consistent, and Israel-Palestine has been one of my number one issues. Like, even to the point where the Vanguard and other people accuse me of using the Israel-Palestine issue to get people on the left canceled. That's how little people used to respect the issue before October 7th. I used to talk about it all the time. It was my main litmus test. As many unserious channels, like on Secular Talk and many others, pushing John Fetterman, I called him out from his Zionism from day one, because I seen this coming. Like, there was this, it's one of the most important issues. So I brought that up to Marianne Williamson, and her weakness on the issue was apparent. And now, ever since this Gaza genocide, those same people who have those weaknesses are trying their best to patch it up. They're trying their best to adopt the same revolutionary language that they used to condemn. Like, you have, I see the same social democrats are posting the video of China at the International Court of Justice, where China said that Israel does not have the right to defend themselves as an occupied power. You want to know who's making that argument before October 7th, Kit? You want to know who's called a crazy, radical, revolutionary,
a mansplainer
for saying this before October 7th? Because now they're on board. Because a lot of them still condemn, like the Cornball West. He condemned Palestinian resistance. He said Hamas he condemns their brutal attack. This is they condemn Palestinian resistance, and they approve of the fake, made up, non-legitimate state of Israel. And now Israel's occupation is being questioned at the International Court of Justice. We have a majority of the world population calling out Israel's occupation. These are positions that was untenable in the professional managerial class. And this is what like the litmus test I was bringing up to people that made people think that RBN was just into purity test. And ever since the Gaza genocide, those same people now starting to sound like RBN on Israel Palestine, which is, I guess, it's good.
Here's the thing. Like, again, when we look at this environment of social media, we have to remember. I think we all have to remember this too. That there was this great attempt, or this attempt. They did do it. By the establishment media, by the two-party system, to train Americans not to think too much about international politics or social issues or domestic issues. Just accept it as it is, and this is how it is. But because of the power of the internet and the growth of social media, people started communicating with each other more. And as the technology advanced, more people start sharing more information. We start reaching out to the global community. And the global community isn't as, yes, they got their fair share of problems, but they're not hypnotized like what our corporate media has done to us. And so with that information, that free flow of information, more Americans are becoming more aware. So when RBN starts talking about these issues, it's first deemed as a threat, or it's deemed as just purity test. But look, we can't deny the numbers. I mean, Gaza has been turned into a moonscape. I don't know how they're ever going to rebuild. I don't know how a reconstruction plan can take place in the first place when there's already the shocking, horrific imagery of the attack of Gazan civilians going after getting food and aid, and they're being shot down. I think you saw the video on social media, right, Nick? Did you see that recently? And again, it's horrific to look at, but you can't tell me that there isn't a genocide taking place. You can't tell me, after hearing that harrowing phone call of this little girl whose family gets mowed down by an Israeli tank and gets run over, and then the first responders trying to go ahead and get there, get blown up by that same Israeli tank. I mean, you can't tell me there's a genocide. You can't tell me after 30,000 at this point. I can't even say 30,000. It's probably now at 35,000. Are we going to get to 40,000? How many more men, women, children got to die? You got 1.4 million people in the city of Rafah. And then they're being told by the security forces, oh, just go back up north where we demolished everything and we promise you a safe travel. You won't get popped by snipers or get blown up by artillery shells or drone strikes. They have nowhere to go. And my fear is they're good. And I don't want to be proven correct on this, and I think you don't want to be proven correct on this either, is that the Israeli Defense Forces are going to move in and no one's going to say anything. How can we not say this isn't a genocide? How can we not say these are war crimes that we are witnessing in real time? So this isn't purity tests. What this is real factual information that's happening. People are dying. The whole, if it's not our government leaders, fine. Let's dismiss our world leaders here for a second. It's people. Regular people like you and me, people in the audience, are watching this and saying, this has got to stop. Are we really going to allow this to happen? And my fear is, the answer is yes, because the lobby group, AIPAC, bought our politicians in the United States Senate and House, because we have, again, money in politics. Corporations are people. Money is speech. And of course, our politicians were paid to shut up.
This is why Zionism has been my main focus for years. They are the number one evil and scourge. The axis of evil, the United States, the UK, and Israel, they are trying to redefine the rules of war. And if Israel gets away with this, it's going to have drastic effects on humanity. So they are now trying to redefine starvation as a tool of war, as legitimate strategic military force. No, starvation as a tool of war is an act of genocide. But you guys see how the United States and Israel are trying to redefine that? Targeting hospitals is a war crime, but they are now trying to put hospitals on the table. Do you guys remember when Barack Obama bombed a hospital? And that's one of the few times the United States ever had to go on a public apology tour. Usually the United States never apologizes or even acknowledges war crimes. But attacking a hospital before was deemed so grossly offensive, even though Obama administration had to apologize for it. Now we're at the point where the Israeli army completely destroyed the medical infrastructure in Gaza, and now the West is like, you guys see how they are redefining war? Can you guys imagine if Hamas killed over 100 UN workers? What people would say about Hamas? Well, can you imagine what they would say about Hamas if Hamas executed journalists? Can you guys imagine?
Well, I think we could see it, or at least if anything, we do have one moment in history that we saw get repeated. Maybe not verbatim, but it's good to compare it to the one incident where Marie Antoinette was once famously quoted, even though she probably didn't say that. Let them eat cake as the people of Paris were starving. You have Biden eating ice cream, saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do something about the Gaza situation." So that we have a Marie Antoinette type moment. Maybe not exactly verbatim, but while Marie Antoinette was eating cake, we have Joe Biden here eating ice cream, which by far is one of the most insane dark moments in U.S.
Yeah,
history.
that picture is going to be historic.
Yeah, let them eat
That
ice
picture
cream.
is never going to be forgotten.
Let them eat ice cream.
People have no idea how screwed Democrats are. I have a hotspot video coming out. Big shout out to my friends at Hotspot.
Yeah,
Where I
seriously, you guys have
covered,
been killing it on Hotspot. You and Nico House and everybody else that's with that network. Shout out to Hotspot. If you're not following them on their social media, please, everyone, do so because it's been a source of information not only for myself, but I'm happy to share that with my audience as well.
yeah, he's Joe Biden is in complete shambles because polls. There was a recent poll that showed that 58%, and this is what I'm covering tonight at Nick and Night. Now I had the hotspot video coming out maybe in a few hours here, and then I got live stream coverage of this tonight.
Done deal.
Where 58% of evangelical Christians support a ceasefire in Gaza. Majority of Jewish Americans support a ceasefire in Gaza. So according to the Biden administration and the Likud party and all the Zionists who support this war, 50% of Jewish Americans, 58% of white evangelicals are agents of Hamas. Kid.
Speaking of voters
Hey,
who are,
let me know. Sorry, let me know if you're down to join. I need to have you back on Nick at Night.
I have to first. Let me just check my.
Yeah.
Let me first check my schedule because I might have to do movie night. I have to. I have a couple of things coming up that I have to fix.
The point is, I got to bring you on back on very soon. That's the point. Yeah.
The answer is if it's not tonight, then maybe I could be on for another night. But my answer is definitely more than happy to be back on your show, my friend. Absolutely. Why not? 10 out of 10. But I want to just ask you just one other thing here too. There's another group that's being vilified, and I think it's just more than just the Michigan voters, but because I think the uncommitted, you had 100,000 people in the Michigan primary vote uncommitted. Now, corporate media has done everything they could to dismiss their impact and what they did. Now, according to recent polling, it's about 13% voted uncommitted. Now, that's a huge number. Then you had 2% vote for Dean Phillips, whatever. It is what it is. It wasn't for Biden. Biden still won the primary, but that's a huge chunk of voters that just said, no, we're going to be uncommitted. And I want to get because you're saying how the Democrats are screwed over. And yes, the DNC convention is happening here in Chicago, and I'm very curious to see how that's going to play out. But I want to get your thoughts of overall what the impact of the uncommitted voters will be, and will that be followed through in other states? Because where I'm standing from, I think that gives enough people courage to say, no, I don't have to. Even if they are going to vote in Democratic primary, they're not going to fall in line and just say, oh, Biden's our guy, and that's it. I want to get your thoughts on the uncommitted movement.
I'm looking for the headline. I had a few videos I was about to do. I decided to do the polling video, but look at this here. This is another topic I'm reporting on tonight. Biden critics look to replicate Michigan's uncommitted vote in other states.
Wow.
Bye, Biden. Bye. Because you realize the hardest part is starting this. This uncommitted thing has hit headlines everywhere. Now the ball is rolling, fam. The people in Michigan had the hardest part. Now the people who had the hardest part are the liberals and the Democrats who are trying to stop this train from that started rolling. So now what they're doing, they're taking this uncommitted and they're about to spread it nationwide. Bye, Biden. You are screwed. Because not only that, there's another poll I'm reporting on tonight at Nick and Night that showed Biden down by 5 points in literally every single swing state. Even with Cornball West withdrawing from third parties. And
I'm glad that you brought that up here because I want to pull this up here because this is something that you shared and I had to share this too. Look, this is brand new. Pennsylvania.
This is it. I think this is it. Yeah.
Pennsylvania right now as it stands. Trump 49%, Biden 43%. Nevada, Trump 48%, Biden 42%. Wisconsin, Trump 46%, Biden 42%. Michigan, Trump 46, Biden 44%. North Carolina, Trump 50%, Biden 41%. Arizona, Trump 49%, Biden 43%. And of course, Georgia, Trump 49%, Biden 43%. These are devastating numbers to the Biden-Harris administration and to the vote blue no matter who sycophants.
Yeah, and despite that, you want to know how Democrats are handling this uncommitted vote push?
They're crying.
They're calling everyone who vote uncommitted terrorist.
That's going to bring the voters in.
That's how you bring it in.
Bring them in. Bring them in. Oh, hey, it's like an abusive spouse. Oh, I'm going to slap you if you don't give me money. I'm going to cheat on this other person because you're not giving me anything. Well, then fine, leave, get out of my house. Speaking of which, I also got this video here from Case Study QB, which again, you brought up numbers of people who are disengaged with the Democratic Party and who are, again, calling for a ceasefire. So huge shout out again to Case Study QB. We'll play just a few short minutes of it, but
the group that kicked off the state's uncommitted protest campaign. Do they think this is just one victory that they'll declare? Because frankly, they set a pretty low bar for themselves of 10,000 votes anyway. Or do they think this has legs?
Well, the organizers certainly think that this has some legs and said that they've been talking to folks from other states in the primary process, including Minnesota and Washington State. But let's be clear here. President Joe Biden did have a clear and commanding victory here in the state of Michigan. He won every county in this state. He got over 80% of the vote. While that is true, it is also true that this uncommitted protest vote got more support than many people expected that it would. You mentioned they exceeded their own expectations, and they even won in a handful of cities in this state.
So you can hear the tears.
Organizers earlier today, they were celebrating what they believe they accomplished, but also saying that this could be an opportunity for President Biden. Listen here.
Hold on.
There was an anti-war option on the ballot last night and yesterday, and that option was uncommitted. And in voting uncommitted, we sent a very clear message to President Biden that this community here in Michigan needs him to change his policies before he comes and asks for our votes.
And talking and listening to voters yesterday, it's clear that not every person who voted uncommitted will no longer go and support Joe Biden, but they are trying to send that message. And the question is, was that message received?
Yeah, and I think
all right, so let's pause it right here because I don't think the message is being received, because what we are seeing from corporate media and a lot of the vote blue no matter who and even Democratic politicians are saying you're still going to vote for us. They're not going to stop it. If Biden really wanted to make an impact, if they were truly surprised by the Michigan voters, they would have done whatever they could to maybe stop this thing from replicating, because it's not just Arab and Muslim voters, it's black voters that are leaving the Democratic Party. And there have been huge amount of articles, not only from last year, but this year as well, showing that black voters are disengaged from the Democratic Party. You got Latino voters upset with the Democratic Party. You got women voters, the LGBTQ community. You got young voters. You got everybody across the spectrum, everybody who are no longer as enthusiastic for their support for Biden and Kamala Harris or anything that administration represents. And we are seeing the machine crack. And I just got to ask, are you guys at RBN considering coming here to Chicago to cover the DNC convention? Because I know
I was just about to ask you that, man. I got some homies in Chicago. I'm about to hit them up because I'm seriously considering making that trip, brother. Well, you still gotta show me pizza, man. You still gotta convince me about the Chicago pizza thing. But with that said, I want to get to the and we talk about that more in a second. But I want to get to the uncommitted thing because CJ has done great coverage on this. Mm-hmm. He led the way on RBN on covering this uncommitted sham. It's one of the most sophisticated sheepdogging campaigns, one of the most desperate campaigns that we ever seen to sheepdog a disaffected population back into the Democratic Party. But with that said, the people who created and crafted this desperate strategy is exactly that. They are desperate and they are delusional, kid.
Mhm.
Because you have to understand, this is a Hail Mary play by them. They have no other chance other than do this. They have to do this uncommitted vote to get the Muslims who told the Democratic Party to fuck off, and they're doing this Hail Mary in the attempt of hoping to get just a few of them back in.
Mhm.
So you guys understand there are two different thought processes on this. This drive by Rashida Tlaib and these Democrats pushing this is done maliciously to get those people to vote for their oppressors. The other thought process is that this is still good, though, because those people are delusional in thinking that the people voting uncommitted, the Muslims, are going to fall in line for Jim Crow Joe. You had many of those voters, like the CNN clip that our brother CJ covered. I'm sure you and our friends at Harlem at Due Distance covered it as well, where they said, no, we're not going to be tricked into voting for Joe Biden again. So despite this blatant psyop, the people who are voting uncommitted is not going to be tricked by that bullshit. That's my personal prediction. What I think is going to happen. And regarding the DNC convention, we got to like what, September? When is it?
August 19th through the 22nd. So to my viewing audience, the show will probably be pre-recorded because I'm going to be there on the ground. It's going to be at the United Center. And look, I could be one of your point people. I've been I think maybe Russell. I don't want to speak for him too much.
I'm definitely hanging out, bro. We definitely hanging out.
Russell has maybe indicated he might be here at the DNC convention. I don't want to speak for him. I know a few other people. I know Daniel is definitely on board, my colleague Daniel, and I know that I have another person as well who's interested in helping out or at least collaborating with us. Like I said, I told you all I'm putting together an Avengers team. So we're gonna.
Bro, that about to be a mega team because I got until August. There's no excuse for me not to make it, and I plan on making
August 19th through the 22nd. So it's going to be a Monday through a Thursday. So we still got to get the layout of the land and ease of that too. What's going to be happening to all the protesters because they're intensifying security because of risks that could happen there. So that's going to be an interesting thing. And speaking of which, I want to get your thoughts on this here too. And I would be wrong not to do so because this is in my backyard. But I find this to be absolutely pathetic on my state for doing this. But an Illinois judge rules Trump ineligible for Republican primary ballot over January 6th.
Wait, is this new?
This is brand new in my state.
Well, oh my God, imagine my freak out, fam.
Yeah, it is pretty pathetic because the judge put her ruling to hold to give Trump a time to appeal before the state's March 19th primary. Illinois, my state, I'm sorry, is the third state where Trump has deemed ineligible. Now, look, here's the thing. I made this very clear. I'm not a Republican voter. I'm not a Trump supporter, but I'm against Trump being removed from the ballot because I've interviewed Greens and Libertarians and Socialist candidates running for federal office, state office, local offices, who they themselves were removed off the ballot for BS reasons by both Democratic and Republican politicians and the party system in those said states. Trump, whether you hate him or not, has every right to be on the ballot. And if the Democrats were as strong as they should be, then they should be not afraid to debate him. I just want to get your thoughts about these attempts of trying to stop Trump. I mean, I know you're not a DNC voter or an RNC voter. I get that. But I just want to get your thoughts on this before we wrap up the interview, because this is just something that just broke. It's brand new.
Man, you guys are getting my first takes on this. You guys know I am a chaos agent here only to pull the people to the left. I am a Marxist, and what Marxists do, we scientifically expose the contradictions of the capitalists and their systems and their hypocrisies. You guys know that they put sanctions on countries and they advocated for regime change for doing less than what they're doing to Donald Trump. So there are a lot of people confused because they have no political direction. So as a Marxist, what we are designed to do is to point out the hypocrisies and the contradictions of our system. So I don't give a fuck about Trump, fam. I honestly find this situation hilarious, if you're going to ask me my personal opinion. But I'm going to point out the contradictions of the capitalist liberals who believe that they have the best free democracy of all time. Meanwhile, they're illegally kicking their political opposition off the ballot. Meanwhile, they are trying to charge Trump and send him to prison, going after their chief political rival. You know, the same thing they tried to overthrow Nicolas Maduro for doing. So as someone who is here to point out contradictions in this system, that is what I'm going to point out. It is not even me defending Trump. I am here exposing our contradictions, and I marvel in the capitalist infighting that's making this country self-implode. That's my take on this. That's crazy. I can't wait to read more into that, but that's funny. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, look, it's my take on it is this. Look, I think it's pathetic that this is what Democrats can only do, and that is use legal methods, waste time with court proceedings and everything else. I think this is a waste of time and energy with all these court proceedings. I think trying to kick Trump off the ballot is a waste of time. Republican voters have made it very clear where they stand. They want Trump. They're not going to vote for Nikki Haley. They don't respect Nikki Haley. And on certain issues, dare I say it, just my opinion, Trump seems to be on the left for Nikki Haley. And that's saying a lot because I find the DNC and RNC repulsive. But this is just a waste of time and another distraction. And the only reason why, again, I am just saying that Trump should be on the ballot is because I've interviewed third parties and independents who were kicked off many ballots. And that should not have happened to them. And thankfully, they were still able to secure their ballot access. But think about the time and legal proceedings that were lost for them to do that. So it's pointless. And it's just really pathetic. And I want everyone to know the Revolutionary Blackout Network is an independent media network. They're not part of any other organization. It was founded by Nick, CJ, Rome, Stabby Sabs, and of course, JB. I hope you're feeling better, JB. And thank you so much for being on my show the other day. Look, they keep on doing all this great work, mutual aid. Follow them on all their social media. Folks, they are speaking truth to power, and I'm looking forward for you guys to at least come here to Chicago to consider covering the DNC convention. I know Hard Lenses is going to be there because it's in our backyard after all, but we're going to be talking about it. But any other things you want to promote here real quick before we wrap the show, Nick?
Can you imagine how we would break the internet? We had a live roundtable, post-duopoly roundtable, Chicago.
Oh, we should do that.
Chicago Live, the first ever post-duopoly show live.
Oh my God, we got to do that. We got to find.
No, I'm down for it. Like, it's gonna happen now, bro. I just talk myself into it.
Okay, because now I'm thinking because I know for a fact the United Center will probably be a blackout zone. I'm preparing for I can't get a signal. Like there's gonna be I can't get a signal here unless you're with the mainstream media. So we got to find a spot where we could do a post breakdown. So I gotta call up Daniel and see if we could find a spot. Maybe we could pal around and find a spot where we could do a whole big round table and get the live stream all set up.
It's already happening now. I just convinced myself.
Oh hell yeah! Now we got to. Now we really got to. All right.
You know how you live? You know how you talk yourself? You talk about your ideas in live time. That is what I just did. I just made my mind that we are doing that. Look forward to the DNC
done deal
live panel. We don't know how we're gonna put it together yet, but it's gonna happen.
We got to figure it out. We got to figure it out now. So all right, it's got to happen live and direct. Hard Lens Media, RBN, possibly do Dissidents with Russell. I mean, I think he did give a hint about it, but I don't want to speak for him too much. So folks, put a pin on that. But it would be great if the Double D got around here. So there we go. And whoever else who was part of independent media, so we'll be there speaking truth to power and covering the DNC convention. And I'm gonna do everything I can for us to get on the inside and try and get the stories on the ground here. So again, folks, if you want to follow Nick, follow him on all the social media. Please support RBN. Nick, any other final words before we head on out?
I appreciate your show, man. It's always fun talking to you, kid.
Oh, no problem, man.
Also want to publicly apologize. I wasn't trying to attack your audience. I think I made a sloppy point. My sloppy point I was making earlier, I've been feeling bad about it ever since. The sloppy point I was making was that there are a lot of people on the left that still have counter-revolutionary thinking. I wasn't trying to attack your audience. I apologize if it came off that way. Either way,
what it was probably a troll. It's okay. Look, I get it. Sometimes, this whole business being on the internet, sometimes our minds get just melted. It's okay. Don't worry. My audience, they love you. I love you too, man. Don't worry about it. It's all good. No need to apologize. So
I'll be live tonight. Guys. So
no problem.
Check me out later tonight, and I'll have you on in maybe in the next week or so.
I think
on RBN.
Yeah, definitely. Done deal. So I think next week, because I know I got a few projects
That
I have to
sounds
work on. So, folks, thank you so much for tuning into Hard Lens Media. Please take good care of yourselves and each other. Start your morning right and righteously angry with Hard Lens Media every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Central on YouTube, Rumble, Rockman, Odyssey, and Kick. We'll see all of you sharp 9 a.m. in the morning. To our Can TV audience, check out Hard Lens Media on all of our social media. We got music by Jesse Jett. Until then, my lovelies, my mornings, please take good care of yourselves and each other. And me and Nick, we'll see you on the flip side. Take good care of yourselves. See you Friday, 9 a.m. sharp.
Mother and baby on razor's edge. Don't give a shit what your paper said. Economy creeping about a red. They divvy a shit little bit of bread. Miles away from that lady's ledge. Her senator waking safe in bed. Ain't got a paper to read in bed. Jerking them off as they count the dead.
Gorillas in the mist, skin suits in the Senate. Water in the streets, chest deep like it's Venice. Water out a tap in Jackson comes blacker than resin. Black incidentally like most of its residents, which is why it isn't on your television, isn't on the lips of your president. Well, I'm admitting that as evidence. I've been fleshing out a case to be made for the testament. I don't know what our collateral count is, but doubt it is less than the estimate. You just show us a hospital, watch as we Dresden it. Our propaganda gets taken to heart, and you're scarfing it, like it or not. If you think that you aren't, I would urge you to pick that apart, cause you're drinking it, smoking it, driving it, dressed in it. We pay for it, pray to it, bathe in it, fill up the basin, and babies are blessed in it. Ask no questions, bask in the pestilence. See, honey, when the plague goes live, you'd be wise to invest in it. See, honey, when the plague goes live, just between you and I, that's an industry sign that they're all done testing it. And come 2025, they will all be confessing it. And then a few small fry fall guys all fly from the precipice, who were doomed to be wasted like shell corporations, dissolving to vapor, then gone with the resonance, gone with the sense and the sentiments, gone with the dust of the remnants, gone with the ghosts of the regiment, gone like those families in Gaza whose bodies and homes are demolished when Israel sets up a settlement. Gone like your chance at a settlement, gone like the hope of apologies out of those funding our deadliest research and backroom development. Gone like your shot at a measly I'm sorry from the mouths of our own bioterrorists. God, you cannot imagine the face of the monster. You can't even fathom the scale of its carapace. It's under your feet, yet you're barely aware of it. You see, it's quietly judging the scope of your suffering, sizing you up like a therapist. Then it rides in your guts like a parasite, growing in size and excreting a culture that's purely embarrassment. Equal parts Manson and Maryland, equal parts something we push into madness and something we'll gladly exploit and objectify 50 years after it perishes. Carefully crafted and planned and arranged like a monarchy's marriages. Fucking cousins or otherwise, scourge of the colonized, staged and displayed for the sake of retaining those imperial barracks. And all to expedite a special type of anglicized dysplasia. The kind where half the world is waking up to learn they're being raided, raped, and robbed of all their heritage by Charles and his caravan of 30 servants' carriages. The kind where each in the procession is worth infinitely less, till eventually they're paid in sums of crown-approved disparagement and bonuses of shame, till they're finally told to thank the highest-ranking inbred pig named king of every garrison. One who rose into his power all immaculate, like Harris did. Well, now that garishness is melting down like paraffin that hardens in a shell and shelters terrified and threatened royal terrapin. Those that rule with zero question, although nobody elected it. Democracy was here till we dissected it. Democracy was here until the exhibition exodus. And the loss of that democracy is just a threat for those who've yet to recognize the scent of bait or know the taste of desiccants. Democracy was here and now the smear is all that's left of it.
Democracy was here and now the smear is all that's left of it.
Mother and baby on razor's edge, don't give a shit what your paper said. Economy creeping about a rat as they divvy a shitty little bit of bread. And miles away from that lady's ledge, her senator waking, he's safe and fed. And ain't got a paper to read in bed, jerking him off as they count the dead. Mother and baby on razor's edge, don't give a shit what your paper said. Economy creeping about a rat as they divvy a shitty little bit of bread. And miles away from that lady's ledge, her senator waking, he's safe and fed. Ain't got a paper to read in bed, jerking him off as they count the dead. Mother and baby on razor's edge, they don't give a shit what your paper said. Economy creeping about a rat as they give you a shitty little bit of bread. And miles away from that lady's ledge, her senator waking, he's safe and fed. Ain't got a paper to read in bed, jerking him off as they count the dead. Mother and baby on razor's edge, don't give a shit what your paper said. The economy creeping about a rat as they divvy a shitty little bit of bread. And miles away from that lady's ledge, her senator waking, he's safe and fed. Ain't got a paper to read in bed, jerking him off as they count the dead. Mother and baby on razor's edge, they don't give a shit what your paper said. The economy creeping about a rat as they divvy a shitty little bit of bread. And miles away from that lady's ledge, her senator waking, he's safe and fed. And ain't got a paper to read in bed, jerking him off as they count the dead.
Don't give a shit what your paper said. Economy creeping about a rat. They divvy a shit little bit of bread. Miles away from that lady's ledge, her senator waking, safe and fed.